Hello everybody, hello, look at dog, sorry. I've only just realised I can't see very much because it's so sunny. It really is so sunny. I thought I'd take you on a walk around the garden because it's very hot. Napo, come on, we're going in the shade, darling. Let's go in, oh no, come on, let's go in the shade. Come on over here. Let's see if anybody's going to come and join us. I've got me Peters and Lee glasses on today, everybody. So I can't see the screen very well. Prescription sunglasses, don't you just hate them? Don't you just absolutely hate them? So yeah, I'm in the shade now. Oh, 34 degrees. It is a rockingly hot. And Napo, stay in the shade, Dan. Don't be a silly dog. Go in the shade. Napo's absolutely boiling. Can't find anywhere to get cool. The lounge is lovely and cool, but I just don't want to go in yet because I've got a load of ironing to do. And I think, well, if I go in, I'll stay in and I'll be doing it. So here we are in La Petite Joucherie in the garden. Oh my God, it's so hot today. Hello, everybody. Well, now the girls are making a bit of a noise because the girls want to be seen. This is Toinette, Marie, Anne and Toinette. Oh, yes, I know. Yes, Mummy's going to bring you some fresh water in a minute. So, yes, it's absolutely boiling here today. And I've been to the market. Never have I enjoyed a tomato and a half a melon so much. When you want to go on a diet, they say you must eat 5 a day. You must do that. Day like today is some fresh fruit and vegetables. My garden, although it's growing, it is suffering. We've had a couple of days and we had so much rain. I'm going to take you in. I'm a bit ashamed of it. My job tomorrow morning is actually to weed this whole bloody disastrous mess, because quite honestly I can't see what's what now. Potatoes are doing smashing. These are all Napo, come here. So, yeah, so that's fine. Even my salads now shrivelling up. I've cut 2 salads. Melons are doing great. They're no problem. Green beans coming along. But can you see all of this mishmash here? This is weeds from the rain. They literally spring up like, you know, just look at the grass that's come through. Unbelievable. So now I've got to hoe all that up. But you're not going to be doing that when it's 34 degrees. So, unfortunately, it's just going to have to wait. Salad's delicious. We had some today. Come on, Naps. And you can see how tired my tomatoes are. They're desperate for water. And yet we've had so much water. They've had a lot of water, but what's happening now is that it's drying out and the crust is really hard. But I've got fruits coming. We've got plenty of tomatoes coming. They're all there. So that's fine. It doesn't really matter. Napo! Excuse me. They're all going at it now. Napo, come here now. Normie? Sorry, shouting at my dog, but then you're used to that, aren't you? Anyway, so the aubergines are all right. When I get all the grassy weed bits, I just need a hoe and an hour and a bit of peace. And I'm going to get up about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning and do it before it gets too hot. Because this is what happens when you garden in places like this. The roots are fine. It's just the leaves get absolutely knackered. And then obviously you get, you know, weeds growing like that. And it's a bit of a nightmare. So that's my job. Oh, come down. I was going to do it this morning. But, you know, best laid plans and all that. I'd already had 2 loads of washing on the line before 9 o'clock. And then I went out to the market. I haven't even looked at these. I haven't even looked at my courgettes for a week. What have we got? Oh, we've got little baby courgettes coming. Oh, look at that. And another, and another. Oh, that's brilliant. You need the females to make the babies. Napo, come on. Yeah, so, thank you so very much to Teresa. Isn't she lovely? Teresa's created a little group for us all so that we can all watch on the group. And that's really cool. I like that. Because when this is all over, La Petite Joucherie will probably go back to being, you know, just things relevant to here. And so it's a bit of a shame to clog it all up with me blah-blahing all the time. So I thought, I didn't suggest it. She did it all by her big girl self. And I thought, what brilliant idea. Because then you know, we can keep all the videos and the vlogs or whatever you call them. Or I'm not really into that, but we can keep all of those in one place. So that's brilliant. So what are you all up to? Let's just don't show you me because you don't see. I can't see what I'm looking at. Ah, there we go. Now you can see the park. It's still green. Now do enjoy the green because it'll soon be burnt to buggery because it'll be absolutely frazzled. And we will end up with it'll look like the desert very soon. So I've been to the market today, loads of people. No social distancing really whatsoever. Apart from when you're waiting to go in shops, people are standing apart. But then they're all chatting and they're having a drink and they're catching up. Listen, you cannot stop two things. You cannot stop the economy and you cannot stop human nature. Can you? You can't stop going to hang on, sorry. Jacqueline's going to Charleston today. Oh, for the night, for a short visit. Oh, how brilliant. Oh, I love that place. It's so fabulous. I love Charleston, South Carolina. Beautiful. Very, very, very beautiful. Stayed in my memory for many a long year, that place. Really gorgeous. Yeah, so you can't actually change people's human nature, and you can't change things, and you can't change the fact that if you put people inside for months on end, they're going to want to go out and they're going to be desperate to go out. Like I was saying, the more you say to somebody don't do something, the more they're going to do it. Don't go out. Oh, we're desperate to go out. How can we get out? How can we break the rules? How can we go around the rules? How can we bend them? Sorry, just going to hold this up. How can we bend them just enough so that we actually get to our goal, which is to go out and see our family or our friends or whatever, even if it's just across the road, even if it. So you can't make people. I don't think you can't make people for any length of time. I mean, I am absolutely amazed for how long this sort of lockdown has gone on without, you know, people going crazy, apart from manifestations and protests for absolutely ridiculous things. You know, those are the kind of people that put people in danger, not the people who wear the mask and do the social distancing and all that. Who would have thought this time last year that you and I would be having this conversation where we couldn't see each other, we couldn't hold each other, we couldn't touch each other, we couldn't emotionally communicate by touch, which is so important, and we couldn't do any of those things. Who would have thought? This is like the craziest thought you could ever have. The whole world is going to stay at home. And here we are, we're now in June, okay? And I never thought we'd be here in June. I really honestly didn't. I thought, okay, March, April, possibly May, but I never thought June. I'm going to sit in my chair now because it's so hot. I'm absolutely going to expire in a minute. So who'd have thought that we would have been in lockdown for this length of time? Now my friend Nikki, she put on her Facebook page the other day that she was in Harrogate and she'd been smacked by a woman because she was on the pavement and this woman wanted to get past and she walloped her. And I just thought, oh, here we go. This is going to be now when the people who are struggling mentally with anxiety and all of that, they're going to be the ones that are going to lash out. They're going to be the ones that want to cry for help. And this is the really tricky part of the whole problem, is that, you know, there are, amongst our group, there are, I would probably say, just by the law of averages, probably 60% who have had some sort of anxiety or depression in their life, because it's so common. And out of the 40 that are left, the ones that haven't had it have probably had it by the end of the lockdown. The nerves, the stress, the anxiousness, what's going to happen to my kids, what's going to happen to their education, what's going to happen to my mother and father, what's going to happen to my grandma, what about my grandchildren? I can't see my grandchildren. My daughter's having a baby. I won't see my granddaughter or grandson being born. I'm not going to see them take their first steps. I'm going to get a video message instead of a hug. So all of that is so terribly poignant at this time, and we're all going to react in different ways. You know, there are days when I'm utterly hyper, as you know, and there are days when I'm really down. And you know what pulls me through is knowing that I go live at night with you lot. And, you know, there are times when it gets to about 3 seconds before you come on and it's already flashing and ready to go live. And I'm like, I'm going to turn this off. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. It's not a problem with the camera. It's just because I just suddenly get cold feet and I think, God, what happens if there's nobody there? What happens if they think, oh, bloody hell, she's on again. Oh, I'm going to turn this off. And then afterwards, I think, well, you know what? Let them turn it off. If they don't like it, turn it off. If you don't like what I have to say, scroll on by. Scroll on by. It's so true. And I have learnt one thing. Well, I'm learning it. I wouldn't say I've learnt it because I still want to punch some people. When people post things on Facebook, it isn't necessarily because they agree with that particular sentiment. It's perhaps because it's a good subject to maybe discuss and digest and dissect and whatever, and something they want to keep for another time. So it isn't all about, it's not all as black and white as that. And that's what I find really tough, when you get idiot people who, and I've probably done it myself, you know, none of us are perfect, but I've gone off on one about a subject because I feel passionate about that subject. And so I might have said, well, you know, I think this and I think that. Generally though, most people agree with me on this group, but I'm sure there are times when you think, nah, she's way offline today, she's way off base, because we can't all agree with everybody and each other all the time. But Nikki was like, you know, really upset naturally about this woman. But when you break it down to its bare necessities, what was that situation about? Would that woman have reacted like that under normal circumstances? Maybe she lives at home on her own in a flat that's the size of a shoebox. Maybe she hasn't got a telly. Maybe she can't afford to eat very well. Maybe she is an addict who can't get a fix. Whatever you think of them, I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm saying you have to realise that, you know, people are like onions, aren't they? You take off one layer and there's another layer and there's another layer and there's another layer. But deep in the middle of that onion, when you get to the middle, it's usually the sweetest, juiciest part. And I think that's probably what we all forget sometimes, because we judge on visuals, we judge on, you know, whether people are fat or thin, or whether they wear glasses, or whether they're attractive in inverted commas, because it's all about what our eye sees versus what our brain reacts with. So it's all kind of like we make judgments within the first 3 seconds or something. And I'm quite sure loads of people who click on here think, oh my God, who's this bird? She's, you know, she's got a lot to say for herself. But at the end of the day, when you peel back the onion, it's a safe place to be, and this little group is a safe place to be, and it's a nice place to be, and I look forward to being in it, because otherwise I wouldn't spend hours and hours and hours thinking about the people in it and how they're doing, or, you know, what I'm going to do or what I'm going to say. And actually I don't. I never structure it, and I never write any notes. Or, sorry, I've just been bitten by another. Oh my God, I am absolutely eaten alive. I mean, I'm going to sit in the pool in a bit, and that isn't meant to upset everybody. God, that was so insensitive, wasn't it? It's just a above ground thing. It's just a bit of water, and I've got it ready, and I thought, well, I'm just going to get in it and cool down, because I've been bitten to death, and I am still waiting for the post to arrive from America, because my darling friend Jacqueline is over there in Carolina. She's actually going to Charleston today, if I can read it right. Honestly, I've got these prescription sunglasses, honestly, aren't they the bane of your life? There used to be those things that flipped up, do you remember? Oh my God, they used to drive me bonkers. But now you've got these things, and I can't see very well. We got word yesterday that the kids will only go to school 2 days a week in the fall, the other 3 days be e-learning. Right, so that's America. So basically, America, you've wiped out a year. This virus has wiped out a year of children's education, because at the end of the day, you know, March, April, May, June, July, when they do go back maybe for a couple of weeks, by the time then it'll be coming up to, you know, the end of the year and then Christmas. So Education, what do I think about education? I'm not a mum, so I shouldn't really have an opinion, but I have got an opinion because clearly, as you know, I've got an opinion on most things. I believe that the kids that come out of this lockdown are going to be far more well-rounded and far more engaged in the world and engaged with their family and thoughtful and caring than the last generation. And one period of lockdown, it's a bit like putting those kids in prison at the beginning, isn't it? You can't see your friends, you can't go out, you can't go shopping, you can't go buy CDs on a Saturday, or we used to buy cassettes. You can't, when it's all negative, isn't it, to a kid? You can't do all of that. But when you sit them at home and you say to them, right, okay, what would you rather do? Would you rather, you've got two choices. You can either do maths or English. There isn't a third choice. There isn't a sit on your backside in front of the TV for 7 hours eating rubbish and drinking pop. That's not an option. I'm giving you an option. It's English or maths. So I think these kids are going to realise that concentrated learning in short periods of time are much better for their brains. I think there'll be retention. The retention of information will be far better. This is just me, talking as I do. I've got 2 nieces and 2 nephews, and I'm just thinking how they're going to grow up. And how it seemed to me before was that they were at school and they were in this forced way of learning. You go into the class at 9 and you come out exactly at 10 when the bell rings, but for the 10 minutes before the bell you're not really paying much attention, so they've already lost your attention. The teacher has lost you completely, and so that kind of enforced learning experience where, at 9 o'clock, get your books out, we're on page 6, we're going to learn this today. Doesn't matter what kind of frame of mind the kid's in, or what the weather's like, or if the classroom's hot or cold, or if there's some other kid who's trying to disrupt the lesson and all the rest of it. This kind of learning, e-learning at home, is going to be concentrated learning, and I think it will be so good for them. I think their problems will be social interaction after all this, but I do think that being taught to learn about kindness and empathy and humility and all of those things. I was quite surprised. My sister has 2 children at school in Sheffield, and as an auntie, I was quite concerned about education, even though it wasn't in my direct line of sight. And my sister works with autistic children, and she's a teaching. I'm not quite sure what her title is, but she helps or children with learning difficulties at school, and she's an absolute angel at that. But I said to her, it does worry me, you're in Sheffield, you're in the centre of a big city, on the outskirts of a big city, should I say, and your kids are going to go to school and with all these different nationalities, and again, here we go, somebody's going to say, oh, she's racist. I'm not racist. I'm simply saying that there is such a melting pot of different cultures now in the schools. These kids are actually learning, hopefully. The problem is when they go to big school, don't know what you all call it in different parts of the world, but when they're in junior school, like my niece and nephew, it's beautiful to watch them. They go into the classroom and, my little nephew will run up to his friends. One's a little Indian boy, one's a little boy from North Africa, one's a little, but they're from all different countries. I'm not going to say colours because I don't like that, but they're from all different countries, and so they don't care what colour. Oh, I've said it again. You see, it's so difficult to explain, isn't it? They don't care which country they come from. They just care whether have they got the right football card, and have they got Messi, or have they got Bogba, or whatever you call him. And that's all that matters to my little nephew. All that matters, and going to school. And my little niece said to me, Evie, she said to me, Auntie JJ, we do some really nice things at school now. We teach about kindness, and our teacher teaches about kindness and how to be kind to other people and how to be nice people, and how we should look after people that aren't as in a good position as we are, and haven't got as nice a family as I'm lucky to have. And I was blown away. I was like, where did that come from? We never learned. Now, there's 2 ways of thinking that. We never learnt about that at school. It was automatic. Does that resonate with anybody? Like the Lord's Prayer was automatic. I don't ever remember being taught the Lord's Prayer. I did go to a Church of England school, but I'm not saying that it was I don't remember being in a situation where somebody told me, you know, how to memorize, or because I've got such a crap memory, and I always have. I think when I was a kid I had a rubbish memory. So how did I know that, you know, our Father, you know? So that's interesting. And then you look at this whole aspect of kindness. We were never taught kindness, but we had a lovely dinner lady who supervised at break time, Mrs. Craggs, and used to give Mrs. Craggs your pocket money, and she'd go down to the village shop and get sweets for you. And then when she came up to see us out of school at 3 o'clock, then you would get your sweets, and she would have a little note with all the amounts of money and who wanted a traffic light lolly and who wanted a sherbet dib dab. And she used to say if people were being naughty in the playground, oh, and she had the naughtiest kids out ever in the village. They were little buggers, her two boys. But she used to say, that's not very nice, is it? You don't behave like that. You be nice and you shake hands and you know, whatever it is. And there is no prejudice. I'm just seeing with Sheila, children don't have prejudice. Often it's the parents who haven't been. Yeah, and the problem is that in this generation, and again, I'm not talking about everybody's kids. In this generation, children are having children. And even when I was at school, there were girls at school who were leaving because they were pregnant. So if you take a child who is what, 17, you would call that a young adult, wouldn't you? But if that child has had no proper parenting at all, then they think that's okay. Or at 14 or 15, they think that's all okay to go and do that. I'm not saying we were perfect in my day, because we weren't. I'm just saying it's more prevalent. It seems to be more prevalent. And again, we don't learn these things. It's learned behaviour. Racism and all this problem we've got at the moment, it's all learned behaviour. We just watch and follow, and it's actually we're being brainwashed all the time. And it's like Charlie, my little nephew. Oh my God, he's so funny. He's passionate about football. Passionate. And he would never, ever, I reckon, go out and do, again, a sweeping statement. And sit there going, you can't say that. No. But I'm sure if you gave him the choice between a girlfriend at 14 or 15 and a soccer academy, the girlfriend would be the heave-ho. So it's about priorities, and it's about giving the kids boundaries as well, and what doing for them, what stimulates them and what keeps them interested in the world and engaged. And it's true, when children having children and single parents, and I'm not knocking single parents, I'm going to do a disclaimer at the beginning. Whatever comes out of my mouth, it's not, you know, this or this. No, it's serious. It's a serious question. It's very difficult to address all of the topics, but, you know, sometimes we're like that, aren't we? It's a warm afternoon, and I'm sat here just pondering the world and thinking, well, all you want for your kids or grandchildren or your nieces or your nephews or whatever is that they turn out to be nice human beings, not, you know, tattoos of love and hate on each knuckle and shooting up heroin in some bloody, you know, alleyway somewhere. It doesn't mean deep down inside the middle of that onion there isn't a good soul in there, a good spirit in there. It's just had the life kicked out of it. It's just been told it's not good enough, or it's never going to come to much, or it's not going to achieve anything. So probably if you reinforce that kind of behaviour all the time, then that's the way to sort of, in a way, teach the kids that it's okay to behave that way, instead of to be kind and to be humble and to be, you know, there are kids who come from good families. Teach them to be humble. If you've got money, teach them to be humble. Teach them how to perhaps turn their pocket money, if they're entrepreneurial at 10 years old, use it in a good way. Teach them to make money for charity and help other people and be altruistic, or whatever that might be. They can still keep their pocket money, but if they make any more than their pocket money, you know, it's the start of being an entrepreneur, isn't it? And then they can go ahead and do something with it and contribute to society. So not all kids are bad. I watched a beautiful film of those two boys in West Yorkshire who were delivering food parcels, making up care packages for old people who were isolated. And I thought, my God, that's absolutely brilliant. You know, that's absolutely brilliant. And yet they looked and sounded like little tykes, we'd have called them. They look, you know, oh, they looked like, in fact, at the beginning, I felt awful to think this. Sorry, you can't see my eyes because I can't see without these stupid spectacles. Yeah, and when I first saw that video, or I was on Look North or something on the TV, I have to say I did think to myself, there was this flash. Please tell me if you get it or not, or if I'm way off base. There was this flash that these two kids knocking on the door were gonna rob the old fella or something. The way they came, you know, it was their whole demeanour. It was like, oh, going to make care packages for all people. We're going to deliver them to our house. Oh. And I just thought, oh my God, you know, they look like they're about to smack somebody over the head with it. And Jane is here with us. I'm having a late lunch and look who I bump into. You talk a lot of sense. No, but I mean, there will be educators and people on here. And I think that, you know, not having children, sometimes I think, well, I can't really have an opinion. But then I think, well, hang on a minute. Everybody should have an opinion, because everybody should be entitled to have an opinion. It might be the right one. It might not be the one you share, but you know, I think evaluating what's gone on has certainly made people change people's minds a little bit. And it really doesn't matter where you've come from, it's where you're going that's more important. And it's more important to be the good person and to help someone to the finish line than to run ahead first and be the winner. And you know, however right or wrong that is, it feels a bit of a sense of responsibility is a good thing to teach the young people today. And what I liked about my little niece and nephew is that Evie said to me, I'm really looking forward to going back to school, Auntie JJ, even though Mummy's a frontline worker, because they have to go back to school next week, because my sister has to go back to the Rowan because the children are desperate. They're autistic children, they need that continuity, and you know, they've got people that are, you know, self-isolating because they've got elderly family now. So this knock-on effect, and the children said, we really want to go back to school because we really want to find out if everybody's all right. Now, isn't that amazing? Now, there will be kids that say, oh, I can't wait to get back to school so that I can go and see my girlfriend and have a smoke behind the bike sheds or whatever, or because not because I want to go to school, but I want to kick that lad's head in when I get back to school because he's a right little, you know, or bullies who have been deprived of their prey. And I really hope there isn't an explosion of bullying when we get back, because that's a whole different thing. You know, the people that have been bullied will be as happy as Larry. They'll be quite happy to do e-learning for the rest of their life because they don't have to be put in a position with bullies. But then the doors will open, and what monsters are gonna come out from behind, that'll be the next thing. Anyway, that was it really. I don't know how we really got onto that subject. Oh my God, honest to God, I have been bitten to death. But I'm not giving up because I love this seat under my tree. It's so cool and it's lovely. And I can watch my garden. Let's have a little look. And you can hear the birds when I shut up anyway. And I've got red squirrels in this tree where I'm sitting. And it's just magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. But I really wish that I'd managed to stop in the freezer counter in the supermarket today and buy some ice lollies, because that's the sort of thing you need on a day like today. How do we used to make ice pops? I can't remember. We used to make them with squash, didn't we? They were cheap as chips, and you used to put them in this ice lolly maker. Who had an ice lolly maker? Hands up, who had an ice lolly maker? Didn't you just love those? And they'd melt in about, I don't know, a minute, because it was just basically water and pop. And you used to suck them out until they were clear, didn't you? So you got rid of all the squash or whatever it was. If they were orange, you'd be like, and then you get to the end and you'd have like a frozen ice cube on the top of the stick. I used to love that. Yeah, so some of us are very, 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 very privileged to have a pool. And I'm not, saying, Kool-Aid. Yeah, it's Kool-Aid. Is that the same sort of thing? It's like an ice pop. Like you push it up in a tubey thing. Yeah, yummy. Yeah, you used to suck the orange. Used to make them with Robinson's. Was it Robinson's orange cordial or something? Yeah. Oh God, I remember that. That was lovely. And the ice cream van used to come down, and it'd stop, and all the children would come out, you know. And then those were the days. But I mean, now they're selling drugs from ice cream vans. So what the hell happened to the world in the last 30 years? I don't know. Yeah, ice pops. Oh my God. And we used to have those, yeah, ice pops. They were like a tube of floppy liquid, and you used to buy them in Iceland, and then you used to put them in the freezer. And they were cheap. My mum could afford those, so we always used to have ice pops. And you'd suck them, and then you'd flip them out, and whoa, you'd lose it, shoot through the air. Mr. Whippy. Oh, who didn't love a Mr. Whippy? Oh my God, Mr. Whippy. I had to have a flake. Obviously, judging by the size of me, I had to have a flake. You see, I'm judging myself already. I'm judging myself. That's what we do, because that's learned behaviour, isn't it? That's learned behaviour. And I've just been saying, what shouldn't we do? Shouldn't, this behaviour that we have. But it's true, isn't it? Anxiety, to be anxious, is learned behaviour. Because if you're frightened once about something, you'll be then frightened again and again and again. And it's learned, and it becomes a routine to be frightened about that particular thing, isn't it? I've just said, oh, judging by the size of me, I'd have a flake in my whippy. I wasn't always this size. I was slim and lithe, and I was going to say something then about work, because there's men watching. I say it'll turn into bloody Grinder soon, and there'll all be these blokes coming on saying, oh, do you want to connect with me offline? No thanks. Love you all, but no thanks. No, but it is interesting, isn't it? And self-deprecation and self-criticism is probably the worst of all, because it means that we've learnt it from somewhere. And my mother, and if she's watching, she should be ashamed of herself, really, but she won't be. Because, bless her, at that time, I don't think she knew any different. I don't think she knew how to be any different. There's a big difference. Because I think anxiety is also learned from parents and passed down. And it's not just a chemical imbalance. It's anxiety is because somebody makes you anxious. Watching Dick and Angel in the Chateau, their kids aren't anxious, are they? They'll put anything in the mouth. If you can get a 3-year-old to eat an oyster. I didn't eat one till I was 51. So, at the end of the day, why? Because I was scared of being sick. And everybody said, oh, if you eat oysters, want to watch out. There's always a dodgy one. You'll be sick. And so I never ate them. So my mum, bless her, and she will watch, because she's my biggest critic. She's the one, if you know, all of you lovely people that are on here, you're all regulars. She's the one that always puts step away from the chocolate when I'm talking about chocolate. Step away from the chocolate, or all of that stuff. And that's learned behaviour. She assumes, rightly or wrongly, or makes a judgment or whatever. She assumes that because she says to me, oh dear, oh darling, you've put a bit of weight on. Yeah, mum, I'm menopausal. Bloody, from the top upwards, and from the boobs upwards, and from the hips down, I'm fabulous. The middle of me is bloody lamentable, as we say in French. And at the end of the day, I am not going to waste my life stressing about it. It is what it is. It'll go when it goes. There'll be one day I'll be grateful of being a little bit overweight in the middle, and one day I'll be grateful of that because I might be really sick or poorly or whatever. So, oh no, what? Steve, have I upset you now? Oh no. Lovely. What are you saying? Steve, tell me why you're saying oh no. Have I said something wrong? No, it's true. And so therefore, it's this learned behaviour. And she would say to me when I was a little girl, don't eat that or you'll be sick. Don't drink any more of that or you'll be sick. Don't have another piece of that, you'll be sick. And that went into my brain. And so all my life I had a phobia of being sick, to the point where I never had any children because of it, to the point where I never went on boats or joined in things or parties or discos at the end of the night. I'd always leave at 10 o'clock, and people would think that, my mum said to me, you have to be in. No, she didn't say that. I just didn't want to About chocolate, love chocolate. Yeah, Steve, thank you. But my mum always says, JJ, step away from the chocolate. I'm like, why? I don't bother answering her anymore. I know she loves me, but it's that whole thing that because because you do this or do that, it's your own fault and it's a result of this and therefore. And I'm like, whatever. I am the happiest and the healthiest, touch wood, I have been in a long, long time, touch wood. I'm extremely healthy, that's for sure. Happiness, I'm not sure. Happiness, no. I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm absolutely as happy as Larry. No, I'm not. There are things that I wish I could do better. There are things that wish I could change. There are things that I wish would happen now and they're not happening. I wish. We can all say that, can't we? I mean, life isn't bloody perfect. Life isn't. I'm not here to sit here and tell you life is a box of chocolates. But no, that's Forrest Gump, isn't it? No, life's a bowl of cherries or whatever it is you say, No, life isn't. Life sometimes is shit. Sometimes it's absolutely the pits. Sometimes you don't want to get up in the morning. Sometimes you think to yourself, you know what? Exactly. No, but it's true. There are days when you think, oh God, I go to for example, and we're all in the same boat. Everybody, okay, we're not all in the same boat, but we could be in the same boat. So I don't know anybody's situation, apart from my second mother and one of my very best friends who's on here already. But the rest of you, I know you and you're all wonderful people, but I don't know where you're coming from. I'll tell you now. So you all know the story of lockdown. I've got no business. I'm unemployed. Jean-Yves unemployed. There are no weddings. They've all been cancelled. All the chateaux have had to cancel all their events and so on and so on. So you know the story. So we had a budget at the beginning of the season from everything we'd saved through the winter to put a new kitchen in. We had this budget of €250 a week for everything. Everything. That's petrol, dog food, food for us, everything. And any other expenses, and they would have to come out of that 250 a week. And you get to you get to week 3, and like you got €37 to get you through another nearly 2 weeks actually. And I'm going, okay, well, I've got a freezer, I'll eat out of it. I've got a garden, I'll eat out of it. I've got stuff in jars and tins, I'll eat out of it. Because when it's not there, it's not there. And it's very humbling to realise that there are so many people that the everyday life is normal. It's normal to be like that. It's normal to have a budget. It's normal to be in the shit and think, well, what are you going to eat next week or tomorrow? Or, who I might have to cancel my hair appointment because there's not enough money in the budget. It's normal for so many people today. And that's going to be normality when we come out of this, is that people are going to be unemployed. People are going to be in a situation where they have to say no. They can't do this. They can't go there. They can't appreciate that because it isn't in the scheme of things. And you can say all you like. We're all the same underneath. It's just the ability and the wherewithal to actually buy more stuff and consume more stuff. Do we really need to buy and consume so much stuff? Bloody hell, that's a whole different story. That's a show on its own, folks. That is totally a show on its own. Do you really, really, really need to go to the tip after the lockdown and chuck bucket loads of stuff on the tip and then go out and buy more? And in that case, you've got to go out and earn more money to buy more and get more on HP and credit and cars and houses. Those people that are sitting here, and I don't know who you all are, I've no idea, but there will be people. There will be people. And this is one of the big reasons we left England, because it was becoming like that. And this is just my observation. It was all about what car you've got in the driveway, which postcode you live in, which school your children go to. I'm not criticising anybody who chooses that life, but we were very stressed by it. It was a very stressful way of life. You had to be at a certain level in order to participate in other people's lives. And that, I think, is so wrong. And this has taught us all that all of us sat here listening and watching, or, we might be sitting here and it's bedtime in, I don't know, America, Australia, or, we're all over the world at different times of the day and night. we're all different. None of us have been in each other's space, neither physically nor emotionally, apart from when we're connecting on here. And so I just think I would rather be remembered for being a good person, who didn't have everything perhaps that she'd anticipated, or shall we say, who had it all, lost it all, had it all, lost it all. Maybe my life is meant to go in circles, and maybe it's I'm at that time when I'm going up the roller coaster. But I'll tell you one thing, when I get up the top of that roller coaster again, and I will get up there, there's no doubt about that, I will get up there. I won't always be scrabbling around in the freezer and defrosting something that I think is, you know, chicken, and it turns out to be an apple pie. I won't always be in that situation, but I'll tell you what, I'll learn to be humble, and I will learn to keep by me the things that are important, and they don't cost money. So it's not about what car you drive, what postcode you live in, what house you live in, which school your kids go to. It's not about that. It's, are your kids nice kids? Are people welcome at your house? You know, has your car got 4 wheels and an engine, and can it pick somebody up who's in trouble? That's kind of like what we've got to think about, I think, now. Not everybody will think like me, but I just do believe that, I think this is teaching everybody one big fat lesson, one enormous big fat lesson. So, you know, may your muffin top not get too much bigger. You're so right. May your muffin top stay within range of your belly button and your top of your jeans. God, and if my mother's watching, if you mention chocolate again, I'm disowning you. I don't have one. So yeah, so when I'm riding high, and when I got to the top of that roller coaster, because it's like snakes and ladders, my life, I tell you. And I'm sure loads of other people on here that are watching can identify with that. I know 2 or 3 of you that do definitely identify with that. and I know the people who start at the bottom and worked up, and I know the people that have had, you know, family businesses and really worked very hard, you know, like I did, and then they've been hit by a recession or global recession or whatever it is, the internet, or the high street died, or they put a bollard outside your shop and everybody stopped coming. So, you know, all of that, we've all been there. There's all been some drama. You know, life's like a heartbeat, isn't it? If it's flat, you're dead. If it ain't moving and it's like that, it's really, you'd die of boredom, wouldn't you? Really. But if it's like occasionally, you know, mine's not, more often than not, mine's like, and then, but you know, the ability to laugh at it is so important, because if you didn't laugh, what would you do? What would you do? Do you know, I did the stupidest thing the other day when I was ironing. And I keep saying to Jean-Yves, no, you don't need to teach me how to do that. I'm 53. I know how to do that. I do it my way, just because it's not your way. So there is tension in our house. He's a perfectionist. I am not. I am creative. He is not. I am an empath. He is not. So we're all, you know, we're very different. However, it works. But I did have to laugh the other day. I plugged the iron in, and then I filled up the iron. Sorry, that was supposed to be, say, toujours not to lose. Oh yeah, I got it. So I got the water, mineral water. Okay, so I have to get up because my bum's gone numb sat on this chair. Because there's such a heavy body sat on it, Mother, if you're watching. Denise, thank you for being in my life. Oh Christ. Oh, you won't thank me at the end of this. You'll think, oh my God, she's got inside my head. No, but it's just so true. And yeah, so I say things to Jean-Yves. He'll say to me, oh no, you're not doing it right. Oh no, oh chérie, do it like this. And I go, no, bog off. I want to try it my way. My way, it's not the highway, but I want to do it my way. You want to do it your way. I am so useless at being precision anything. You know, I'm not even that great at weighing things. How I managed to be a chef, I don't really know. And to be fair, my green beans are not straight in a straight line. But that's what it is, isn't it? I mean, if everybody was in a straight line, God, it'd be so boring. Anyway, he was saying to me about the iron, and he said, he says to me, put mineral water in the iron, because if you don't put mineral water in the iron, then you get all these mineral deposits, and when you spray the steam thing, you get stuff on my shirts. And I'm like, and what? You just wipe it off. So it goes. So I try to kick against it. Sheila, if you're still watching, you'll be laughing at this. I tried to kick against it, and I'm sorry, but I haven't got the money to spend 90 centimes on a bottle of water and put it in my iron. There's perfectly good water out the tap. So I used to be the biggest materialistic, overspending. I used to buy presents for my friends. I used to take them on holiday. I used to do all of this stuff because that's me. When I've got it, and I give it away. But when I haven't, I'm like, now I'm actually learning. One of my friends said to me, you don't have any designer handbags anymore. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. What, do you want the dress of my friend? She's selling some cheap. And I'm like, no thanks, I don't need a designer handbag anymore. And she was like really sad for me, and she's going, I'm so sorry. You've no longer got a Louis Vuitton. I said, yeah, I've got one. It's in the wardrobe, but I look like a bit of a prat going to Lost Market with it. So I don't really use it unless I go to Paris. And then I put my best shoes on. And she laughed and she said, oh my God, you used to have 75 pairs of shoes. I said, and what, you've only got one pair of feet, haven't you? You can only wear one pair of shoes at the same time. Anyway, getting back to the story of the iron and Jean-Yves. So he's like going on about water. And I thought, I'm just going to try and see what happens if I put tap water in it. So anyway, I've been using mineral water, and I sprayed the thing and stuff kept coming out of it just the same. Mineral water has minerals in it, doesn't it? So if it's got things in it, when they dry up, when the water's gone, you'll get that deposit. So I thought, oh bugger this, I'm not putting bottled water in the iron. And he caught me putting tap water in it. He caught me putting tap water in it. He says, darling, oh chérie, you know you don't do it like that. You know you don't look. And I can hearing him talking to me like I would talk to my nephew or my niece. No, you know you don't do it like that. Or Napo. Now, Napo, you know you don't do that. And he's going up to me, now you know you don't do that. And I go, oh, well, you iron them yourself then. So I went to pick the iron off the ironing board and he said, no, sorry. Then he said, no, don't worry about that. It's okay, darling. I know. Let me do it for you. I said, no, I can do it. So I took the bottle, poured the water in through the hole. And you know, there's a flap thing that goes over the hole and you shut it. I put my hand on the flat of the iron and snapped it shut, and the iron was hot on, and I burnt all the ends of my fingers off. I couldn't believe it. And I say to him, darling, you don't need to tell me how to do that. I'm 53. And he said, how old are you? And I'm like, my mother used to say that as well. How old are you? How old are you? Don't you dare do that in public. So I did. I'll tell you, you've got to laugh at everything, haven't you, really? You really, honestly have got to laugh at it, because if you didn't, I mean, but it was so funny. I'm like, I'm not putting 90 centimes of the water in there. Jesus, I feel like my granny taking a flask out with me. She used to take a flask and sandwiches because she wasn't too tight to go and buy a sandwich in a shop. So she'd always take sandwiches in tin foil, and then she'd have a flask. And we'd be sitting on some bloody bench freezing our nuts off because she was too tight to buy a sandwich. But I used to laugh though, because they were so great. My grandparents were of a different generation, and they, you know, I was saying the other day, this lockdown really, it's nothing. Because you imagine my granny, my mum's mum, whose memoirs we read for VE Day. I'm just walking up to the house because it's so bloody hot. I'm going to put my hand in the pool. VE Day, we read her memoirs. Well, Granny and Grampy met at the beginning of the war. Oh my God, it's like a bath. And they met at the beginning of the war, and he went off to North Africa for 6 years. They never saw each other for 6 years. They didn't know she didn't know at one point whether he was dead or not. So, you know, I know it's awful, and I'm the first one, because I really want to see my family and my friends and my mum and my dad, my two mums and dads actually. But you just can't fight it, can you? You can't. It's like trying to kick a door that's locked. You can't kick it down. So It will be what it is, folks. I just hope we don't have a second wave, because then it'll be like the Irish potato famine at our house, and I'll be eating potato peelings. In fact, there'll probably be more to eat in the chicken run than there is in my fridge. Will be in my fridge. No, but being positive, I'm going to show you a little bit of the garden and less of my blabbing on, because it is really... Oh, I've got a wet hand now. Oh, can I tell you a funny story? I don't know whether I should tell it if there's any men watching, but it was quite funny. Well, it wasn't funny. Well, it was funny. You'll probably wet yourself. Oh, that's not even funny either. So I was in Lush today. That's exactly what happened. I was in Lush today and I went to my usual little bar. Can you hear those birds? And I went to my usual little bar. Oh, get off. Sorry. Oh, no, go away. God, there's this fly and it's stuck to me. Oh, stop it now. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Go away. And I was in the cafe and I had a nice cold drink outside. And I was just watching the world go by, as you do when you're in the market. And so I thought, oh, I've got a lot to do now. I've got to go and get a new battery for the car and blah, blah, blah. And there's no toilets open at Leclerc, so I better go to the loo while I'm here. So I've got a blue linen dress on, like really light linen, because it's very, very hot, as you know. Sorry to rub it in for those of you who've got freezing cold weather and it's pissing down. Sorry. Oh, get off, will you go away? There's a fly that keeps welding itself to my wrist. So I go to the loo. I think I'll just go to it, and it's a really nice bar and it's very clean, and it hasn't got those toilets with a hole in the floor. So I thought, oh, I'll go in there. You have to plan these things when you get, when you get to that stage in life where if something's funny, it's not. Anyway, so I go to the loo. And I did the same trick that I did many years ago in Paris. And I actually forgot to pull my knickers. No, I did. I actually pulled them down, but they didn't go down, if you know what I mean. Somebody's got to have done that before. And then I ended up, I thought, I washed my hands, I'm looking in the mirror, put my lipstick on, and I'm walking up the road to the where the vegetables are, for those of you who know the market. Walking up the hill under the arch. I thought, my backside feels really warm and damp. And then I realised what I'd done, so I had to go into the next bar and I had to whip my knickers off and put them in my handbag, because I thought, I can't walk around like this, because if I sit down, I'm going to whip on my dress. Oh God, I'm so sorry if there's any men watching. Just pretend I'm androgynous and then it'll be fine. It might put you off me for life. But honestly, I was like, what do I do? Oh my God. But when you get older, you learn how to deal with these tricky situations, don't you? And you think, okay, well, I got one or two options. Either you leave them on and everybody knows what you've done, or you put them in your pocket and that's fine. You'll just have a little breeze until you get home and that'll be fine. Luckily, I was on my way home. So I wasn't actually walking around Lush doing my shopping with no pants on, but too much information. So there we go. We've all done it. We've all done it. Nothing's new. Nothing like inventing the wheel, is there really? Oh, I think it's time for some lubrication, because I've never shut up. But I was so bored. I was like, I don't want to just sit in the sun and do nothing. And I am writing, but I've got a bit of a writer's block at the minute, so I need to get some inspiration. Immediately as I'm talking to you, I've got some inspiration. I was just thinking, wouldn't it be fun to write a story, a collection of short stories about all the people in our little group in the lockdown? Think about that for a follow-on. So that would be quite fun, wouldn't it? And all having some sort of a reunion at the end. Then you could all have a place. That's probably the book that people will light the fire with. But anyway, never mind. So I don't know where all you are and what you're all doing. Are you all having fun this afternoon? What are you doing? Chilling? Are you working? Are you shopping? What's a stupid thing to say? You wouldn't be shopping, would you? What are you doing? Talk to me. Because I'm going now to get something icy cold, and I'm going to get some water for my chickadicks, my little girl, because they'll be dry as a bone. And I don't know where Napo's gone. I would give you a little show round with Napo, but I think he's gone in. Oh, it's too hot for him. He's a mountain boy, so in the summer he suffers. I'm cooking and knitting. Oh, Shelley Rashotsky. Now, where are you from? California. What are you cooking? Steve's in the garden. Sheila's going into town now. Right. Make sure if you go to the loo, you pull your pants down properly. Oh my God. How utterly, totally embarrassing is that? Anyway, the whole world now knows that I walked around the market with no knickers on today. And that's the end. If people tune in, they'll be out saying, oh, I want to go join that woman. She's great. She walks around with no pants on. So what else? Boston. Oh, Boston. Yes. Oh, Boston. The Boston Pops Orchestra. Do you know, I once saw the Boston Pops Orchestra live in that big park on 4th of July. We were in Boston on a bus trip, and the concierge in our hotel said, oh, you must go and have a walk to, what's that field called? Something field. And there was this big orchestra thing and this big show going on. It was all free. And we saw, I'm sure it was the Boston Pops Orchestra. Yes, wonderful. Oh, I absolutely loved it. Chowder. Charleston, Boston, Philadelphia. Those are the places I've really loved in the States. All that sort of east side. Love it. Where's everybody else? Sheila's gone into town. Oh, it's so nice to have you. Are you here with us, JT? You've probably gone off to do something far more interesting. Jane's back to work. And that's where we'll leave you all for now. So thank you for joining me with my Peters and Lee glasses on. God, it's horrible being myopic, isn't it? Can't see a bloody thing. Got a muffin top, myopic, and I wee in my pants. Honestly, what an attractive proposition that is. Anyway, mwah. See you all later. Have fun. And if you weren't miserable, you are now. Bye.